Welcome back, folks, to another episode of Jamin's Daily. We're going to get right into the news of the day with your host, me, Jamin, and your sponsor, Sage Choice Insurance Agency. Let's get into the news. The CMT Music Awards will be full of memorable performances tonight, says the internet. But my take on this is that country music has not been so bad. It's so bad now. It's never been bad. It's never been worse, in my opinion, because I can remember country music when it was good, like in the mid-90s or something, okay? Not that long ago, in the 90s. Now, I don't understand where much of the country music is pop music. The pop influence into country music is so pervasive that it's not country music anymore. It's something else. Look at somebody like Taylor Swift, who won all kinds of awards as a country music singer, but she always was on that she was on the fence between pop and country. But she was so successful that then everybody followed suit, and now there is no country music. It's pop music with a little bit of a country from Nashville. It's just country western music. If you want real country music, you gotta listen to like Texas country, different types. But mainstream country music, it's terrible. If you feel differently, folks, let me know. Like Luke Bryan, who are some of these other guys who just, they're country, they're playing, maybe they're country, but sometimes I feel like they're playing a part and then they're country so they can sell music and make money. But I just don't, the vibe, the country vibe is just not there on half of the stuff that comes out now. Again, send me an email, jaminsdaily@gmail.com, if you feel any differently. ESPN broadcaster Molly McGrath speaks out after trolls shamed her pregnant body. Well, one, if you're going to make fun of a pregnant woman, you got to be an extra level kind of butthole. But that's what the internet and trolling is all about. So it says here, ESPN broadcaster Molly McGrath is no stranger to online harassment. As a woman working in a male-dominated field for more than a decade, the former Boston College cheerleader has learned how to pick her battles with those who anonymously criticize her on social media. But that doesn't mean she's wholly immune to the occasional troll. And when one recently nearly got the best of her, she took to Instagram to put them and any other haters on blast. Let's see here. So there's a photo of her on a football field. She's a sideline reporter. She's doing her job, and she's wearing random clothing, and she's pregnant, so she's got a gut. Okay, and she says she's alleging that last night I was on my feet for over 6 hours straight in the rain, and I knew that I would only get 3 hours of sleep because of the last second flight change. For the first time maybe ever, I let a cruel troll tweet about the changes of my pregnant body get to me, said McGrath's post began, which featured a photo of her on the job visibly pregnant. Okay, again, you have to set boundaries when it comes to social media. And really, if I was famous, I would just never look at most, if not 99% of all the comments. I wouldn't read. And you almost have to have a person who filters and screens the comments for you, because I'd be like, listen, I only want to read the good ones. Okay, you delete all the bad ones, just let me see the good ones. That's what I would do to protect yourself, right? But the hurtful comment about her looks gave McGrath, who originally hails from San Francisco, some perspective too. She says, I'm proud to be a pregnant woman working full time, and I am proud that the monstrosity of creating a human life has not and will not slow me down. The monstrosity of creating a human life? I guess that's a strange word to use, but folks, the moral of the story on this is that people on the internet are cruel. If you're famous and you post things on the internet, you're going to get trolls saying crappy stuff. Hell, I'm not even famous. Sometimes I post things on my Facebook, and then other people decide to like comment on it or post things, and I'm like, yo, I don't go onto your Facebook and respond to your post. Why are you coming onto mine? Okay? Can you imagine if you're famous, you post something, you can get all these posts, I'm surprised people don't screen them. I wouldn't read any one of these posts that didn't go through some kind of screening process. Just got to figure that out. Molly McGrath. Next, into a little politics. It says this comes from the New York Times, folks. New York Times. Around Atlanta, many white suburbanites are sticking with Trump. Natalie Pontius is an interior decorator, married with 2 children, and is a University of Georgia alumni. She was born and raised in Atlanta, but moved to the city's exurbs is what they call it, with her family several years ago, drawn to the region's quality of public education. In November, she's voting for Donald Trump. And see, they're putting this article out here, folks, because there's this narrative out there that white suburban women, suburban living folks in general, have a problem with Trump somehow, because these people are perceived to be educated and a little, well-heeled, and they're like, oh, Trump, he's, the blue-collar people like him, and so, I don't know. It says, the riots, the push to defund the police, that's not the direction our country needs to go, Pontius says. She's 48. I feel like the Democratic Party is continually trying to come up with ways to divide us. According to this lady's opinion, she believes that Trump, on the other hand, is looking out for me as a person. And the thing is, this is on the New York Times and on Yahoo. So like I said, it's 10-1. When we do this, folks, it's 10 negative, then we find one that's somewhat positive. Trust me, they're going to find a way to spin this in a minute. National polling has consistently shown that white, college-educated voters are supporting Joe Biden for president. But in Georgia, even as major demographic and population shifts have pulled the state leftward in recent years, a majority of such voters remain firmly in Trump's camp. And I think for a while, I live here in Texas, and they always are talking about how Texas is going to turn blue. It's going to be purple. A Democrat hasn't won state office in over 20 years, and it's not a purple state for statewide or presidential elections. It's red, but there's always these liberal fantasies that Texas could become a blue state. If it ever did become reliably blue, then the Republicans would never win another presidential election. Okay, folks. But it's not happening anytime soon. I don't think it's going to happen, really. But, who knows? 3/4 of Latino voters disapprove of Trump's coronavirus response in poll. 3/4. This is, and perhaps that's believable. I think, regardless of who was president, with this kind of situation and the fallout, the ramifications of just a pandemic happening, regardless of the response to it, no one comes out looking good. So, it says a poll found that in the 7th week of 9 weeks of tracking, 29% of the 400 respondents said they knew someone who had died from COVID, while 26% said that they had trouble getting food, medicine, or basic household needs because of the pandemic. It also found that 41% said that they had to dip into savings and retirement funds to pay such costs. So this is everybody. They're always trying to pigeonhole stuff. So the Latinos, I bet you the number is probably the same amongst most demographics. And the other thing is, what's misleading about that is that 70% of Latinos can be a little salty about how the pandemic is panning out. It doesn't necessarily mean it correlates with who they're going to vote for. Okay, folks, but, maybe I'm wrong. Let me know. Email me at jaminsdaily@gmail.com. Let's look into Jennifer Gardner and the circus of being married to Ben Affleck. Are they still married or are they divorced? I'm not too sure. Being a celebrity certainly has its perks, but Jennifer Gardner just got real about the downside of fame during an appearance on PBS Tell Me More with Kelly Corrigan. The actress opened up about what it was like being followed by paparazzi 24/7 during her marriage to Ben Affleck. See, I don't think they're married anymore. It's the cost of doing business, she says. She said it affected all the regular things like taking their kids to play soccer and all that. That's too bad. There's certain celebrities who have found a way to avoid the paparazzi limelight kind of stuff. And then there's others who are less successful at that. And I don't know how that works. How they do that. Or if it's always if you can just really get away from them. Or sometimes I feel, especially like people like Kim Kardashian, these folks, the paparazzi, they themselves and the paparazzi are one and the same. Like, they rely on each other. But if you're just truly a talented actress or actor who's in the movies, who doesn't need the extra publicity and the paparazzi, then it would be nice for them to hound you and to get away from them, I guess. But who knows? I don't know. I was victim for a long time. I would look at the celebrity news, the OK magazine, the Star magazine. My parents used to get this I don't know if they were subscribers or what, but I just remember there being 10 magazines sitting there in the restroom to look at while you're doing your business. Now you don't need that because you have your phone. And since I have my phone and I have options of what to look at, I don't read celebrity news. But I did for a long time, so I was feeding that monster. But moving on. Now it's just clickbait on the internet that I fall victim to. So I haven't truly gotten away from it. But moving on, here's some relationship advice. Your relationship is doomed if your partner does this, experts say. So take notes, folks. No relationship is perfect. In fact, being able to successfully navigate the ups and downs and overcome challenges as a team is a huge part of what makes being in a relationship such a meaningful experience. However, while disagreements, frustrations, and disappointments are inevitable in even the strongest and most loving relationships, the way you and your partner behave in those difficult situations says a ton about the strength, or in this case, weakness of your relationship. With that, if you notice your partner doing any of the following things, your relationship is probably doomed to fail. And for more dating dilemmas, this is the number one reason your relationship isn't working. Number one, they withdraw during arguments. While confrontation is often unpleasant, occasional arguments with your partner are a normal and healthy part of being in a relationship. But if your partner shuts down every time you raise an issue that is bothering you, that's a sign of larger problems. 2, they never apologize. 3, they hold grudges. 4, they are constantly looking at their phone. Those are the 4. Trust me, if you're with somebody and you're having these problems, they walk away from arguments. They never say they're sorry. They stay mad at you for a long time, and then they're always on their phone. Yeah, relationship probably isn't gonna work out. Moving on. So, folks, I've been to many live games, football games, in my life. I had was able to go to Texas A&M. And so they have huge stadium and home games. We had student passes, so we'd be there for the home games. And they have flyovers. So American military personnel, jets, cargo planes, they fly over. It's an amazing sight to behold. And it's kind of tradition. It's done all over the country at games. And so it was done recently. Two announcers for NFL games, Troy Aikman and Joe Buck, were doing a game. I think it was the Packers in San Francisco, but the stadium was 90% empty, and yet they still did a flyover. And the broadcasters were on a hot. I guess maybe they didn't know they were on the air, or maybe it didn't make it on the air, but it was leaked, and so they're on a hot mic and they're saying, you know, how much jet fuel are they wasting? Oh, there's your tax dollars being spent. You know, just kind of, I mean, it's not a completely ridiculous take to make, opinion to have, but, you know, those flyovers mean so much more than, yeah, are we going to start penny pitching jet fuel? Really? Right? It seems to me that the only person who would ever come across, like if I saw them flying over an empty stadium, my personality would be like, wow, they're still doing it because, hey, this is tradition and it's still badass. Plus, this makes for TV. They're broadcasting that flyover as well. But the first thing that comes to mind to Troy Aikman and Joe Buck is, you know, their tax dollars. They pay a lot in taxes because they make a lot of money, so maybe they have a right to be that way. But Joe Buck actually didn't opine, but Troy Aikman, because there was a little bit of backlash. Troy Aikman came out and said that, you know, he supports the military, this and that. If anybody thinks he doesn't, they don't know him. So he had a somewhat. He didn't necessarily apologize, but he had to backtrack. Moving on. Let's see what we find on the interwebs. I was looking at stuff here. It's always hard to find something on the fly. But you know, when it's just me and you at home, what's the rush, right? We got some time. Apparently, Ellen DeGeneres got a new hairstyle. Some of y'all do some research onto that, folks. Send me an email. Kim Kardashian turned 40 years old. She's getting old. Apparently, people are setting. So apparently, Donald Trump, he's doing all these rallies. He starts to, you know, do a little dance at every one of them. So people are setting Donald Trump's rally dances to funny songs. So they're making bloopers out of them, which I bet is hilarious. I'm gonna have to look into that. Let's see. Some of these, the other thing. Oh, Rush Limbaugh says that his cancer is terminal. So sad news. He's, you know, it's always a sad subject, right? Cancer. But so now I wonder, what's that mean? 4 months? 12 months? 2 years? So apparently the guy who co-founded Uber, his name is Travis Kalanick. He's got this new business startup called where they focus on this thing called ghost kitchens. So we actually have a super successful one here in the city of Corpus Christi. There is a restaurant called Wings and More, and they opened up a ghost kitchen, which is basically just a facility next to it where it's all to go. It's to go. You basically getting the same food. You're just not getting the dining experience. And the food is not cheaper. It's the same price. But you do save. You're doing it because you want to take it home. You know, so pick up. And then two, you do save some money because you don't have to tip. And the other day we went to Wings and More through their ghost kitchen. And the restaurant was packed. And there was a huge line at the ghost kitchen. So they're just printing money. The place is a gold mine. So these things can work, and you cut out all the frill. One of the things about restaurants nowadays too is what they're saying, the whole interaction. This is not a good thing for humanity, folks, but they're also saying that people go to restaurants and then They're not even the appeal of the restaurant and getting together with people and all this with your family is losing some of that appeal, because they're all distracted by this. They're all there at dinner, but they're all in a nice restaurant, but then they're looking at their phone and stuff. So they're like, why don't we just pick it up and take it home? And I think it's a great idea. But you got to remember, it's also cutting out the waitress, the hostess, those people, the ones who suffer. Moving on, folks. Let's find one other topic before we take our first break. And that one's going to be about maybe Meghan Markle again. We've talked about Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. They say that they don't want to miss a single moment of watching their son Archie growing during the pandemic. So this is clickbait, fluff piece for the royals. Nah, not interested. Moving on. You know who's also 40 besides Kim Kardashian today? Rebel Wilson. We talked about it. She's losing all this weight. So now, because she's losing all this weight, now she's on Women's Health headline saying Rebel Wilson, 40 years old, looks super fit in metallic blue Alo yoga leggings. Is she wearing a face shield? Let's see this. Think on this. This is on the Instagram. She's out doing. No, she's not wearing a face shield, I don't think. You know what? I think she is, but the visor's up. She's lost a lot of weight, but she's still not thin. Moving on. Just can't really find anything that's great. Well, the U.S. government suing Google to break up, or they're trying to break up Google because they're alleging antitrust law violations. It's kind of complicated, so we'll save that for another time. Here, we'll settle on this one before the break, folks. Gwen Stefani nonchalantly responded to rumors that she and Blake Shelton called their wedding off. So for those who don't know, who have been living under a rock or in a cave for the last 20 years and stuff, these people are pretty famous for quite a while. And now they're together. And they've been talking about getting married for a long time. So it makes for good gossip mag speculation, because they still haven't done it. But I wish them well. Good for them. Let them get married. Who cares when they get married? When it happens, I guess. But we're gonna go to a break because this is dragging on. It's not my best effort. Don't forget that this podcast is brought to you by Sage Choice Insurance Agency. You can reach us at 361-400-2411. You can also go to quotefromjamin.com. Quotefromjamin.com. Get an easy, submit some information to us so that we can get back to you with a quote. Secure, encrypted. Sage Choice Insurance Agency. When we get back, we're going to try to do some other kind of segment to kill some time for episode, I don't know what episode number it is. Remember, we're not supposed to say that, but just for, content is king. We're just going to put it out there. Hopefully the folks like it. We got a lot of improvements that we're hoping to implement over the next 10 to 20 episodes, folks, because we're at 40 now. We'll be at 50, so the YouTube channel is coming up soon. We're on iHeartRadio, so download us. If you're on iHeartRadio, you can find us real quickly and listen to the podcast. When we get back, folks, we'll have a new segment. We'll continue the show. Thanks for sticking with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for joining us, folks. Welcome back from the break. Jamin's Daily here. Your host, Jamin. We're getting back into the news. Something that I saw widely promoted headline on the internet that the Proud Boys and far-right groups were sending threatening emails to Democrat officials, poll workers, etc., that if they didn't vote, if they didn't do something, that they needed to watch their back. Very threatening and ominous threat email. And right away the media jumped with it as though it was the truth. Oh, the Proud Boys are threatening the voters. Well, lo and behold, folks, lo and behold, the FBI says that the Iranian intelligence was behind this. Says the emails claim to be from the Proud Boys, a far-right group supportive of President Donald Trump, but appeared instead to be a deceptive campaign making use of a vulnerability of the organization's online network. It says first divulged on Tuesday by local law enforcement and election officials in Florida and Alaska, the emails were soon turned over to federal authorities. It says the messages appeared to target Democrats using data from digital databases. They told recipients the Proud Boys were in possession of all your information and instructed voters to change their party registration and cast their ballots for Trump. Okay? It says here, the Proud Boys allegedly said, "You will vote for Trump on election day or we will come after you," warned in the emails, which by Tuesday night were said to have reached voters in as many as 4 states, 3 of them hotly contested swing states. Okay? But the fact of the matter is, these emails were not sent by the Proud Boys. They were sent by bad actors. And this is why one of the big problems that we're in, folks, and why you have to train your mind to, whenever you see something on the internet, you read something, it always can't be true. Can't just believe it. So on the internet, when you see Proud Boys, far-right group Proud Boys threatening Democratic officials, right away you gotta just tell yourself, that's probably not true. Because look, right now it was on the internet being spread as though it was true. And then we find out later that it's not. Do you think, I guarantee you, there is no headline on Yahoo Today saying this was untrue. They just leave it be. And hope most people, because this article, the headline that said that the Proud Boys did send it was on the front page of Yahoo. This article that says that it was actually Iranian bad actors is way down. It's like one of 40 links on the Drudge Report. Okay? It's not good. It's no bueno. Because don't know who to trust in the age of fake news. It's not even that it's fake news. It's that it's just not complete news. So you can't you can't form your opinions on half the information. You got to find it all, folks. Okay? Or you just you come to Jamin's Daily, and I'll help you. I'll help you with these things. Try to keep you informed on what's going on in the world. We're going to end this episode with one more headline from the Drudge Report. And this one's kind of, we talked about some streaming services several episodes ago. And one that had come out recently which tried to differentiate itself from the others was this one called Quibi. And it was the owners, the people behind it were this guy Jeffrey Katzenberg and Meg Whitman. Meg Whitman was the CEO of eBay back in the day, made a fortune, and Jeffrey Katzenberg was one of the co-founders of. He was a Disney executive, and then did what's that play? The one that does all the animation. I forget. I'm gonna find it though. Anyways, they made this streaming service where they were going to create 5 to 10 minute shows, premium shows of content, and it would be $5 a month. and they paid a lot of money to get all kinds of great production and create content. Oh, he was the co-founder, this Katzenberg co-founder of DreamWorks. That's what it is. Anyway, so they spent all this money. They launch at the wrong time because they launched this service right when coronavirus is hitting. But that's not a great excuse, because theoretically people were at home. They needed stuff to watch, so they should have been buying this service. They weren't. They were just sticking with their Netflix. But they're shutting down after only 6 months. One of the problems, in my opinion, is that there's already a somewhere to go to get that kind of content. It's called YouTube. There's all kinds of YouTube content by creators that's 5 to 10 to 15 minutes long. Okay, you don't have to pay an extra $5 for it. It's hard, I just don't see that selling. But maybe I'm wrong. We're fixing to start a YouTube channel where we're going to upload the podcast, but then perhaps maybe we'll also be able to do smaller chunks of content, 5 to 10 to 15 minutes, and see where that goes. Hopefully you'll let us know, folks at home, and maybe I'll be my theory as to why this Quibi failed will have proven true, because my own 10 to 5 to 10 minute, 15 minute episodes are getting a lot of views. You gotta make it happen. We're gonna make it happen, folks, because you've been here every step of the way. So I want to thank you, send you my gratitude. Don't forget that this podcast is brought to you by Sage Choice Insurance Agency. You can reach them at 361-400-2411. Been in business for 5 years, the agency. Me running the show, been doing this for 12 years. Homeowners, auto insurance, business insurance, give us a call. Like us on Facebook. Go to Jamin's Daily on Facebook. Go to Sage Choice Insurance on Facebook. Follow us. Give us a like. You'll get notifications that the podcast has dropped. Okay? And you'll be able to send me a message, DM me, say, hey, I need a quote. And I'll get you that quote real quick. Save you money. And with that, folks, thanks for joining us on another episode of Jamin's Daily. We're hoping to have some guests on for the next couple of episodes. And we're really going to make an effort here over the next 10 to 15 to 20 episodes to change, get in. The first 40 episodes were really just rehearsal, putting stuff out there, practicing behind a mic. Once we get to 50 and above, really going to try to create a true schedule as to when the podcast is available, and a clearer direction as to what, the direction of the show, what we're going to be doing, what to expect from one episode to the next. We've been just trying things out, just doing whatever. Half the time it's like, well, what's going to get me to talk for close to 40 minutes? And then you just go with that, right? But we've learned a lot. I've learned a lot since episode 1. Here, by the time this drops, this is going to be like, I don't know, episode 41 or something. And change is on its way. And it's going to be good, folks. So stick with us, because the best is yet to come.